want to take a moment to talk about the importance of stories, because as human beings, we are story creatures. If you think about it, so much of our lives are spent engaged with stories in one way or another. Sometimes these stories are incredibly entertaining and keep us riveted to our seat, such as we see in our cinemas, in our film. Sometimes they're much more stark and bare-boned in terms of the creativity, but they're stories we tell nonetheless, such as perhaps with our Western scientific textbooks. Stories are the way we make sense of the world. Stories are in everything. They help us understand the world. When we forget the power of these stories, we forget an essential component of who we are as spiritual, mental, emotional beings, and we forget the impact that those stories can have on us. So we perhaps become quite unmindful about the kind of stories we tell ourselves, because every story we tell is teaching something. Every story we tell is teaching something. In Indigenous cultures, stories are quintessential to both exploring, coming to an understanding, and helping to explain the whole world around us. Stories are essential to that definition, to helping us understand our place in the world and to help us understand our perceptions of the world and what's happening out there. They also convey lessons and values and teachings and experiences to learn from. They also provide histories. They give us truths about other animals and other relatives that are out there. Stories help us make sense of the world. In Native Science, a fellow named Gregory Kahete, he wrote a book called Native Science. And in it, I thought he said something really interesting. If I can grab my glasses here. It says, it may be said that we all use the metaphoric mind to describe, imagine, and create from the animate world with which we constantly participate. Just as the focus on participation in native science brings forth creative communion with the world through our senses, so too does the application of the metaphoric mind bring forth the descriptive and creative storying of the world by humans. Science in every form, then, is a story of the world. And if you think about it, stories are so essential to us that they're even what our dreams are made of. The dream state is something that is not well understood in Western culture. In a lot of tribal cultures, dreams have been very heavily explored and highly valued. Dreaming is something we do all the time. It is so essential to us that if we don't dream, something happens to us mentally and emotionally. We aren't able to stay sane. If we don't dream, we lose our sanity. And our dreams are nothing but stories. They may not be stories that we can make sense of in our conscious mind sometimes, and other times they make perfect sense. But dreams take our experiences, or they take knowledge we need to learn, or they take something and they put it into story form for us to understand this, to understand what the message is of that dream. So dreams, we don't know a lot about the dream state, consciously speaking, but what we do know is that dreams will take our experiences in our daily life, and our subconscious will then process those experiences into story form, and we'll dream about those at night or when we go to sleep. We do know, and this is something you'll find in Indigenous traditions around the world, that dreams have been given to people that provide accurate predictions of the future. Whatever that's coming from, we'll be talking about the nature of time and what that is in this course, so that might all be something that comes back again, but accurate predictions of things to happen have been given to people through dreams. We know you'll find time and time again Indigenous teachings that talk about how knowledge is given to people through dreams. Sometimes somebody who is a plant person may be given a dream. This person maybe have asked to heal somebody that they care about, or to heal somebody that they've met, and they don't know what plant to use, and they're thinking about it and wrestling with it in their conscious mind, and at night they sleep and they have this dream, and this knowledge, this medicinal knowledge is given to them of what plant to use, and they're able to use that. There are accounts over and over again of people being given the knowledge that they need for healing through these dreams. In fact, this is so frequent that many Indigenous cultural caretakers will talk about how dreams are one of the main ways that people have gained so much knowledge. People ask, well, how did anybody know to eat that plant? Or how did anybody know to go there to go hunting? A lot of times the answer is, when you trace it back, if you're able to trace it back, is, well, somebody had a dream and they followed that dream. We also know that dreams are not just a human thing. This storytelling in our subconscious or non-waking mind is not only a human thing. There were some years ago, I was amazed it didn't make bigger headlines, but a gorilla who is in captivity now, was in captivity at the time too, Michael, he was where, maybe you've heard of Coco the gorilla, whom some researchers taught how to sign American Sign Language. He was also one of her companions, and they taught him to do sign language. So they were able to communicate with some of these gorillas in this way. And he shared one time, he had some of his human caretakers came, and he seemed really upset this one morning. And he shared through sign that he had had a nightmare. And he said in his nightmare, he had dreamed about the night when he was little, when he was a baby. Oh, I don't know how young, but, very little, still dependent on his mother. He had a dream of when she was taken by poachers. This was a gorilla signing in American Sign Language to these researchers about this nightmare he'd had that involved his mom being taken by these humans, right? I mean, how profound is that? So again, getting back to that importance of stories. Stories are, that telling of stories through dreams is something that we know happens in other animals too. And very recently, a Western scientific article came out talking about how spiders also have REM states, which is where dreaming happens. Plants sleep, all sorts, and there's all sorts of different avenues we can go with that. But the idea is talking about in a class with religious experiences, dreams are going to be essential to that discussion. And understanding dreams is the stories that they are told in stories, right? They're told in stories to us. That's what our dreams are. Going back again to the importance of stories. So in traditional Indigenous cultures, dreams, stories, direct experience, all of these are essential to spiritual understandings. And you will find over and over again those spiritual understandings, whether it's being told through dreams, being shared with other people, whether it's information about the nature of the universe, it's almost always told in story form. So I really want you to pay attention to those stories. Stories from tribal cultures have been written off as kind of childlike entertainment that doesn't have much meaning to it, but they contain so much. And so that's part of what we'll be doing in class in reading the Mishomis book, is to take a look at these stories, not just write them off as something for children, because they're not, to really kind of delve into them as text, as sacred texts in a way. And I say in a way because sacred text automatically starts to conjure up the idea that they can't be changed. And stories, when they are told by storytellers, they are always told in a way that has integrity to what the story is supposed to be telling. And they are sharing, the key information is being shared, but who your audience is and the context that you are in always also shapes the story. So that's where I got sacred text kind of makes me a little nervous when I say that. But the idea that they have knowledge in them, many times knowledge that is based on religious experience or helps in a way to explain a religious understanding of the world. That's how I want to analyze these stories. There are Bible study groups in Christianity where people go back and they analyze the stories of the Bible over and over again to try to understand them from that religious perspective. And that same sort of respect needs to be given to these stories that we will be talking about in class as well. All right, so think about that. And I have some thoughts that would be great for you to ponder, like how stories have played a role in your life and in your understandings of the universe, and kind of think about that. All right, that's it for now with stories. We will talk to you a little later. Mama P. See you later.